J.C. Tretter resigns from NFL Players Association. J.C. Tretter, former president and chief strategy officer of the NFL Players Association, NFLPA, is resigning. In a recent interview, Tretter cited the intense pressure and strain on his family as the primary reason for his departure. He explicitly stated he's not interested in becoming the interim executive director, a position he was reportedly considered for. Tretter's resignation comes after 6 weeks of intense scrutiny, during which he felt he was unfairly taking the blame for controversial issues within the NFLPA that he wasn't directly involved in. He emphasized that his resignation is not an admission of guilt but rather a necessary step to protect his family's well-being. While acknowledging past controversial actions, including criticizing Russell Wilson and suggesting players fake injuries, Tretter maintains he acted in the best interests of the organization. He felt unsupported by the NFLPA despite his consistent efforts to prioritize the union's needs over his own. Tretter's departure leaves the NFLPA with the immediate task of finding an interim executive director. Given that the chief strategy officer position was newly created, it remains uncertain whether the NFLPA will fill that role.
In our next story, sources: Chiefs lock up the George Karlaftis with 4-year deal. The Kansas City Chiefs have locked up defensive end George Karlaftis with a massive 4-year, $93 million contract extension, including $62 million guaranteed. This secures the 24-year-old services through the 2030 season, solidifying a key component of their defensive line. The deal comes on the heels of a similar record-setting extension for Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith, demonstrating the Chiefs' commitment to retaining their young core talent. Karlaftis' consistent performance, including a team-leading 8 sacks last season, has earned him this lucrative contract. His ability to generate pressure, particularly when paired with All-Pro Chris Jones, makes him a valuable asset to the Chiefs' defense. His postseason contributions further cemented his importance to the team's continued success. This extension makes Karlaftis the 10th highest-paid defensive pass rusher, reflecting his growing importance within the team's defensive scheme. He's the first member of the Chiefs' highly successful 2022 draft class to sign a second contract, highlighting the team's strategy to build a dynasty through smart drafting and player retention. The Chiefs are now focused on extending cornerback Trent McDuffie, another key player from the 2022 draft class. However, any deal for McDuffie would likely surpass even the recent record-setting contract signed by Jets cornerback Sauce Gardner, reflecting the rising value of elite young defensive backs.
In our next story, Marvel's Kevin Feige on how James Gunn gave props to MCU for Superman. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige acknowledges a recent slump in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, with several films underperforming at the box office. He attributes this partly to oversaturation, admitting the studio produced far more content post-Avengers Endgame than initially planned. This led to a decline in the perceived value of individual projects, particularly as audiences became overwhelmed by the sheer volume of films and series released across theaters and Disney+. Feige points to *The Marvels as a crucial turning point, highlighting audience unfamiliarity with characters introduced in Disney+ shows as a major factor in its box office disappointment. He also cites the absence of Chris Evans in Captain America: Brave New World, and the lack of name recognition for Thunderbolts, as contributing to their respective underperformance. However, he remains optimistic about the future, noting the upcoming Fantastic Four: First Steps is projected to be a significant box office success. To address these challenges, Feige reveals that Marvel has significantly reduced production costs on recent projects, learning from other studios' efficient filmmaking practices and employing stricter budget scrutiny. While acknowledging the need to maintain visual spectacle, the studio is exploring ways to achieve this while keeping costs down, questioning the potential role of artificial intelligence in this process. Further, they are refining their internal testing methods, incorporating broader audience feedback to better gauge the appeal of their films before release. Despite the recent setbacks, Feige expresses no regrets about the MCU's expansion and experimentation. He emphasizes the importance of taking risks and pushing creative boundaries, even if it means some projects don't achieve box office success. Furthermore, he expresses support for other studios' projects, underscoring the importance of collaboration and mutual success within the film industry.
In our next story, surprising sex act Gwyneth Paltrow loved famous ex to perform. A new unauthorized biography about Gwyneth Paltrow is revealing a previously unseen side of the actress. Author Amy Odell claims Paltrow's private life, particularly her relationships, was far more raucous than her carefully cultivated public image suggests. The book details intimate moments from her past relationships, including a revealing anecdote about her relationship with Ben Affleck, shared by Paltrow's own makeup artist. The book alleges a more complex dynamic with Affleck, characterized by intense physical chemistry but ultimately undermined by his self-destructive behavior. Friends reportedly questioned Affleck's commitment to Paltrow, suggesting he prioritized other activities over their relationship. This portrayal contrasts sharply with Paltrow's typically polished public persona. Furthermore, the biography explores other aspects of Paltrow's life, including her anxieties about weight, her early experiences with wealth and privilege, and her reactions to Brad Pitt's marriage to Jennifer Aniston. These details paint a more nuanced picture of the actress beyond the wellness empire she has built. The book, Gwyneth, the biography, promises a deeper understanding of Paltrow's personal life and the factors that shaped her into the public figure she is today, offering a look beyond the carefully constructed image she projects.
In our next story, Maryland County fields more than 100 rescue calls in a 2-hour period during flash floods. Montgomery County, Maryland experienced unprecedented flash flooding Saturday evening, with over 100 rescue calls flooding emergency lines in just 2 hours. A volume typically seen over an entire day, intense rainfall overwhelmed the area, trapping people in cars and buildings. The National Weather Service issued a flash flood emergency for Silver Spring and surrounding areas, a first for the D.C. region since 2003, highlighting the severity of the event. Water levels in some areas rose dramatically, with reports of a 10-foot increase in just 30 minutes along Sligo Creek. Dozens of water rescues were performed, including one incident where 20 people were trapped in a Chevy Chase building. One resident recounted a terrifying experience where his wife and daughter were trapped in their SUV until neighbors intervened and helped them to safety. Many residents expressed shock at the speed and intensity of the flooding, with some saying they had never witnessed anything like it before. Sligo Creek Parkway remained closed Sunday morning due to flooding, and other road closures were reported across the region. While the immediate emergency has passed, the National Weather Service forecasts light showers throughout the week, with a higher chance of significant thunderstorms predicted toward the end of next week. The incident underscores the increasing frequency of extreme weather events and the importance of preparedness, particularly given the county's recent investments in improved early warning systems following a devastating flooding event in